Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mackie and welcome to the most anticipated reading vlog of mine for over a year now. So let's just directly get into it. In today's video, it's been exactly 1 year this very day as I'm sitting down to record this that I read the book ACOMAF and it changed my life. And I don't know why I've been pushing it. Honestly, I was waiting for the perfect time which never came because let's be real, no time is ever the perfect time. So I'm finally gonna bite the bullet. I've waited a year now. I'm just directly gonna get into it. In today's vlog, we're doing a spoilers video of me reading my most anticipated book of like my entire lifetime at this point. I'm gonna be reading ACOMAF, giving you spoilers and opinions and thoughts. So let's just start with it, alright? Because I've been waiting far too long to do this. There's a video on me reading ACOMAF from like a year ago in case you want to go watch that and catch up on my thoughts for the first book. But then now that, that's done, I did end up going as soon as I finished this book to get this book. And I bought it the very day I finished ACOMAF, and so because of that I did start it like the first 10-20ish pages, but I'm gonna read some more and then I'll give you thoughts because I know exactly what I feel on this book. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I have gone ahead, made Pinterest folders, made a Spotify playlist, done all these crazy fandom things that it's finally time that I immerse myself into this because it's gonna be a whole other thing. I know this is her most beloved book in the series because it's more of like a Hades and Persephone kind of retelling. It's like enemies to lovers. We all know our favorite High Lord comes in this, and I can't wait to read it. I have gone through so many plot theories for this book only, haven't checked up spoilers on this, and so I already have so much going on in my mind. We will get to it in a few minutes. I'm gonna go pick it up now. I'm gonna go read and maybe I'll come update you when I'm at like the 50-page mark or something like that. Bye. Hi guys, first update for probably one of the best books I will have ever read in my lifetime, and I'm saying this as I'm reading it. I managed to hit chapter 7. I checked, I'm like 69 pages through this book. It doesn't look like a lot when you compare to the whole book, but I'm grateful it's not because I would genuinely eat up as much of Maas's writing happily, especially in this world because it's my favorite. But now update time. So the last time I came and spoke about this series like in its own vlog, it was in the ACOMAF vlog, and in that I said that the first book ends on this very bleak hope kind of note wherein you can still look forward to something happy, but then this picks up from that. It's like a couple months worth of skip or something like that. And the thing is, you can already see Feyre trying to grapple with the guilt and the grief she has over killing the Fae in the trial, and it goes from there. She's also now been reborn or resurrected as a Fae, and so she's trying to figure out life after that. And at the beginning of the book, she's actually getting ready to marry Tamlin, which is fine. But here's the thing, I have gone so deep in only the ACOMAF rabbit hole, not anything beyond because I didn't want to spoil stuff for myself. So I already see like red flags now looking back at Tamlin's character, which I didn't notice the first time I was reading the book. So now thinking back on it, genuinely I was very much rooting for her not to get married to him, and I honestly told myself that if she does end up marrying him, I'm probably gonna pull it down a notch because I didn't give half a shit about Tamlin in this book. I hate him so much, especially looking back and seeing all those red flags that I missed the first time I was reading because I did a deep fan dive or whatever. Keep in mind, it's been a year exactly since I've been reading this series, but this series has been in my mind at the forefront of it every single day for the entire 365 days that I wasn't reading it. And so I have gone ahead, dissected this book even more than I had the first time around, and now thinking back, I don't really like Tamlin that much, and I understand Rhys's reasons for what he did towards the end of the first book, which is what I was really hating on him for in that video. But now thinking back, he was getting her out in the night from her prison to like have her distracted and stuff. And there was also this one thing I saw wherein if he wouldn't have done that, and if he wouldn't have helped her not wallow in the self-pity and the self-guilt she was feeling, she probably wouldn't have made it through the trials, which is again giving more depth to it. But then as I was reading this, I genuinely didn't want her to marry Tamlin, and then the scene came wherein Rhys broke in on their wedding. You don't understand how hard I was giggling at that point. And then now I reached the point wherein he was just teaching her how to read, because if you remember the second trial from Actar, she wasn't able to really read the inscription on the wall, and that almost got Lucian and herself killed. And so reading this, the way he's making her read, the way they're getting closer, I'm telling you, when everyone says this is the best book for the romance in the series, I understand the hype and I already see why, because I'm giggling over stuff he's doing. Even if he's just like quirking his brow or whatever, he's smiling, I start full on giggling, and that just shows how down bad I am for this man. And yeah, I'm having an amazing time. Like I said, it picks up directly after Actar, so this is where we are at right now. He also ended this chapter by telling her that war is coming or something like that, so I'm gonna go keep reading, but I do have to edit later tonight, so I don't know how much I'll get done. But I just wanted to quickly come in and say, this already is probably gonna be one of the best books I've read in my entire life. You know, I've been looking forward to it for so long, happy to be back in my favorite world with my favorite set of characters, and I'm so happy I picked it up to read for this vlog. I wish I hadn't delayed it a year, but then now I can't wait to read the whole series in one go and, you know, fangirl over it again, because I've been doing that for so long that now that I'm getting all this new content in the series that I didn't let myself pick up, I'm having an amazing time. And so I'm gonna go keep reading. Again, nothing crazy in terms of updates, it's just I'm having a really good time being back in the world, and now I want to see some politics come into play as well, because I'm looking forward to more of Freyr and Rhys. But then apart from that, I want to see what happens in the background, because that wasn't really explored when they were under the mountain and stuff. And you know, I want less of Tamlin because I really don't like him. But I'll see you guys with more updates hopefully soon. Maybe I'll make it to like the 100-page mark or something, and then I'll come update. I don't really know, but I'll see you soon. Bye. Also, really quick before I go, I forgot to mention, I'm loving seeing Lucian in this again, even though we aren't getting much of him. And can I just say, Rhys is such a king for teaching her how to, you know, mentally shield herself and how to read, which is stuff Tamlin didn't help her with. Like, come on, you're literally about to marry the girl and you're not letting her protect herself or learn to become more of the version she wants to. You're not letting herself defend herself. You're just using her as this like trophy model collection to like make people feel good. And like, are you serious? Are you actually kidding me? I'm so infuriated by Tamlin, but Rhys is really doing it for me. Already, I think this is going to be a 5-star book because of how good it is. And I'm going to go keep reading now because no one cares. I want to see what happens next, and I'll update soon. Hi guys, so as the next evening, I have fully switched over to reading on my Kindle at this point, because the fun part is this book is so thick I'm not able to hold it upright while I'm reading, especially when I want to lie down and read. So I'm being extremely lazy, I'm aware, but that has gotten me some good speed because I'm faster reading on Kindle than I am physically. I have managed to hit chapter 13, page 126, and I know I said I'd come at like the 100-page mark. I kind of forgot, so here we are because I got carried away reading, and I have so many things to talk to you about because this is like a full spoiler vlog. I don't have to hold back, and this is my first time doing a full spoiler vlog. So the best part is, you know, I haven't really had the liberty to talk out my whole opinions and stuff on other books in the fear that there will be spoiler, but here I can, so that's perfect. Let's continue our chat about ACOMAF. Since the last time I spoke to you, everything that I was thinking has proven true. Tamlin is just not correct for her because see, the thing is, every one of them went under the mountain. They all have their own set of traumas. He has his trauma wherein he wasn't able to protect her, and even at the beginning of the book he took his animalistic form and was sleeping at the end of her bed to like kind of protect her. He's already in shape to kind of attack whoever comes to, you know, get her. But as you keep reading, you realize that when she was under the mountain, she has her own traumas to deal with. She's not the human girl who needed protection anymore. She's so much more than that. She's Fae now, and the thing is, because of the powers that were gifted to her by the High Lord's magic, now if you think about it, it's best she's trained to kind of defend and fight for herself, because that one time she wasn't able to as a human, it got her killed. And now, you know, if anyone gets access to those powers, they're gonna use it anyway, so might as well have a fighting chance if she's been given training, which is why I really agree with Rhys on this. I don't like the way Tamlin is just trying to protect her, defend her, because if you think now, everyone changes and evolves with time, and as you can see, she's obviously changed and adapted into Fae now. She doesn't need the protection, she needs needs to be able to do it for herself, which obviously is something Tamlin cannot offer. Another thing about Tamlin I've noticed is that he's very overbearing, like he's doing too much. And even this one part in the book when I was reading, it said that he loved her and he cared for her, but he like cares and loves her a little too much than he should, because the way it's happening right now, she needs her private space, she needs the room to breathe, but she's not giving to her. He's not exactly forthcoming either, because he's not telling her stuff he should be telling her, like the military stuff or whatever, enemies, teaching her war tactics and stuff. And also I really didn't like the place where he said, oh, but there's no high ladies, and then a few chapters later Rhys goes, why can't there be? So I'm loving how Rhys is challenging everything, but at the same time I want Feyre to be able to see that for herself, because the place she is in right now, it's not really, the most conducive environment for her, especially with what she's dealing with and the PTSD that she's getting. But along with that, it's also toxic. It's like emotionally abusive. And that one Ash song, I think it's called Moral of the Story, the one where Niall Horan is singing along with her in it. I think there was this one lyric wherein they're both damaging each other and they think it's love, but it's actually pain. And that has been resonating with me so much when I'm reading this, because the thing with Feyre and Tamlin is, because of the things they went through in the past, maybe they would have been together and it would have been fine, except that would have been without Under the Mountain. Now, after the events of Under the Mountain, they have their own traumas to deal with and to grow from as people, which they can't really give each other space to do because they just aren't for each other. And when you read the book and you think hard on it, even the song's Lovely by Billie Eilish and So Long London by Taylor Swift, especially the bridge wherein she goes, you swore that you loved me, but where were the clues? I died on the altar waiting for the proof. Like, the entire thing is reminding me so much of this, and maybe I'm being over passionate, no one really cares as much as I do, but when you pick up on the little signs, even small wording phrases, just makes me open my eyes and be like, damn, this author is so smart for the way she's weaved it in so beautifully that she's slowly making you build up steps and understand. Because in the first book, I was so thoroughly smitten by Tamlin, was so in love with him, but now looking back, like, yeah, it was correct. The way I felt for him in the first book was fine, but now looking on this, it's nice how she is being able to like pull these vivid emotions out of you and change them with the way she wants to, and the way she's giving her narrative, which is nice. Also, really quickly, I want to say, I don't know if this is like a metaphorical comparison or whatever, but whenever she's in Tamlin's court or whatever, when she's in his manor, she feels suffocated, she's silent, she's not really communicating with people. And just now at the end of chapter 12, he actually locked her up in the place. So the fact that she's getting the whole Under the Mountain feeling again, she's feeling like she's trapped and caged up, is really pathetic. But then now if you compare it to Rhys, whenever she goes to the night court, especially because of the bargain windows, there aren't really any, so it's all sweeping in, and she feels free and happy and just safe. Like, when you compare her 1 week with Rhys to the rest of the month with Tamlin, even if you look on it, even though we're supposed to like Tamlin at this point, I don't really know, there's something about him that's just rubbing me the wrong way. And even though she's supposed to be in love with Tamlin, I see her personally thriving when she's living with Rhys in the night court rather than with Tamlin. I see her breaking down when she's over there. And also, can we really quickly talk about the fact that his claws keep coming out randomly? Like, he has no control over his power. Even when you contrast that with Rhys's power, he has shadows of his wings coming out, but the wings never actually come out unless he needs them to. And again, that just shows how different people deal with different sorts of trauma, and how Tamlin kind of needs to heal as a person and realize what he's doing rather than restraining and restricting someone from whatever. But yeah, back to the point where in the night court she feels more open, because all her surroundings are like so open and free that she's just feeling nice and not held back the way she was Under the Mountain. And just now when Mor, so that's Rhys's cousin, again I don't know pronunciations of anything, I will go look them up, but when his cousin came to come get her from Tamlin's shielding or whatever, she kept telling Feyre, you're out, you're free. And just thinking back on that, it's so sad. You're not safe, you're not protected, you're just free, and that's what she wants. And that's the thing Tamlin's not realizing, which is making me kind of hate him as a character, but also I see why he needs his own time to recover and heal, and that's very beautifully portrayed throughout the book. I will say the start of it, to get into it, has been very slow, but the way it's building up now, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm not really able to like pull myself away from it. Even the like slight humorous moments we're getting with Rhys, wherein he's like teaching her how to read and write, and he's making her write all these kind of superficial things about him, him, they're adding light to an otherwise, kind of depressing and gloomy story, which is really sweet and nice, and I'm really enjoying it. Even the bits where she's hanging out with him and he's trying to get a reaction out of her, I find that really sweet personally, because she is going into this shell of a person that she was just because she's not able to overcome it, and she's becoming this husk that she wasn't really. Even if you look at it, she's like resigned and she's not really living her life, she's just watching it from her own eyes play out. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but the way he's kind of pulling her out of it, I'm really enjoying. And now they are on their way to the night court. I'm so happy she's back there, because honestly I'm hating Tamlin right now. I'm hating the way he treats her and Lucian. He can't just come up to her and say, oh, I'm so sorry, Feyre, and give her gifts every time he messes up. That's not really how it works. And I'm getting riled up over fictional people, so that just shows you how good this book is so far, and how I've gone ahead, recommended the first one to everyone in my friend group. Everyone either has a copy or has gone ahead and finished their copies and loved it. So time to go recommend this one, because it's equally good, if not better. I think it's on the better side actually, but like having a great time. I'm gonna go keep reading. Yeah, that was like a whole bunch of thoughts and rants about the book so far. Again, like I said, I'm having a good time, over 100 pages through. I don't know when I'll come in next to update, but can I just say I want her stays at the night court to become a little longer now, because I'm getting sick of it when she's just going back to Tamlin and getting mistreated but forgiving him and whatever, because like genuinely they need the space from each other, and I don't think they're right for each other. And need a break from him, because I'm really hating him at the moment. Never thought I'd say that, and never thought I'd ever defend and support Rhys for his opinion, because I really didn't like him in the first book. But again, character development is taking place very well in this book. So I'm gonna go keep reading. Finally, she gets to go to the night court now. She's escaped the kind of tortured prison she was in. It was like a gilded cage, wherein it's all beautiful and gold and lovely, but it's still a cage that's trapping her in there, and she's out of it now. She can finally go to the night court. So I'm gonna go with her. I'm gonna go keep reading, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Can I just say I'm really enjoying Lucian in here as well, though. Even though he's being mistreated, he's still standing up for her, and I keep hoping that their friendship continues, Feyre and Lucian, despite the fact that now she's going to the night court and he won't be with her, because he's like my favorite character. Let's be real, if in the first book she wasn't forced to like fall in love with Tamlin with the whole Amarantha thing, Lucian would have been the love interest. Because Feyre, honestly, are you blind? Would you really fall for Tamlin when Lucian is standing right there in front of you? That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm gonna go now, again getting riled up over so many things which are fictional. Hopefully none of you guys get offended by my opinions, because again, this is only my first spoiler vlog. Hopefully I'll get better at it in the future. But like, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm the only one who's this passionate over it, unfortunately. So maybe you can like comment down below, leave me your thoughts, and we can discuss. I'm loving the way Rhys is getting her out of that, self-loathing bubble that she's in, like he did when she was under the mountain, by bringing her out every night for the dances or whatever, even if it was just to get her out of her own head. I'm loving the book so far, so I'm gonna go keep reading, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye! Not much has happened. I just read one more chapter before I'm coming in to speak to you guys. I am now on chapter 14. I'm on part 2 called House of Wind, and it's on page 135. And here's the thing, even reading the previous chapter, chapter 13, the way Feyre describes herself is like saying she has like a crumpled or shattered heart, and her soul, her spirit feels like it's dying away. And this is what I mean when I say when she's with Tamlin, she feels suffocated to the extent where she cannot heal and truly recover from what happened to her under the mountain. And then apart from that, it also said in here at some point that Tamlin either didn't know her or he misunderstood her and what she needed, after under the mountain to try to recover, or he simply just didn't understand or didn't care and was letting his own fears fester, which is correct, because I feel like he wasn't really looking out for her in the sense that she needs to be looked out for. He's looking out for her in the sense that he wants to appease his own fears, and that's fine, because even he went through trauma down there. He wasn't able to protect her when he had to or when he wanted to, but then now that's not really what she needs, and now she's, here with Rhys in the night court. She's getting her time to recover, and it's so much nicer change of events. And just now she's actually going with him, Rhys, to this different place called Velaris, I think, the city of starlight, and he says it's his home, so that's fun to read about. I have like an ACOTAR sticker pack, and that did come with it, so I was wondering where that would pop up, and now that it has, I'm so interested to see what happens next, because in the stickers it looks beautiful, and so I'm gonna go keep reading. But like not a lot of updates. I just wanted to quickly come and speak about how she was pressurized to the extent where she couldn't really express herself and grow from what happened. But then now hopefully that happens for her, because she is such like a strong female character that we don't normally read about. And I'm really loving her character. I'm loving Feyre in general, and I really want only the best for her. So I'm gonna go keep reading. Also, I'm loving Rhys. And maybe there'll be more Rhys moments now, hopefully. I hope he just doesn't go back to the spring court. I hope Lucien can move in with them, and I'll be happy, because that's literally all I need. But I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, so it's been a couple days since my last update. Firstly, I'm trying to take it slow with this book because this might be the best thing I've read in years at this point, and I don't want to rush it and then have it done with, and then I'll never have the experience of reading it for the first time again, which is why this vlog is probably going to be like 20 days long at least. And so I have gone ahead and pre-recorded other bookish content to be posting in the time that I'm filming this. So we're fine otherwise, but I was also like really busy because I had to go edit and do a couple things. So it's been a bit, but I'm back. I'm now on chapter 19. I'm like 200 pages in, and we just finished the scene where they went to meet the bone carver and figure out what Hybern is doing with the cauldron. I'm going to keep this update small because I don't want to be updating and making each update so long that the whole video turns out to be like 5 hours long, because as much as I'd like to come and look back upon the time for the first time that I was reading this book, I do want my memories to be somewhat concise, because let's be real, no one's going to watch a 5-hour video of me dissecting this book. I don't even think I have it in me to do that, so I'm going to leave it to the professionals, and I'll quickly run through my opinions of it so far. I keep forgetting to say every update, so this is going to be my first thing I wanted to mention before anything. The witch woman at the beginning of the book, Ianthe, I don't know how it's pronounced. She's the priestess in Tamlin's court. She's so sus to me, and I hate her because every time she's always forcing Feyre to do these things Feyre wouldn't want to do, and Feyre specifically asked her not to include the color red, and she did, and I keep forgetting to come speak about it because that just makes me angry. But here I am, and I'm just saying it. She's such a weird character to me, and I don't like her. So if people like her, honestly, what are you guys on about? Because I hate her so much. I hate that she's doing all these things that Feyre should be doing and Feyre should feel comfortable doing. And now when Feyre just went ahead and met Morrigan, Rhys's cousin, she's talking about how Mor could be her first female friend, in a sense that Ianthe had never been there for her because she's not pressurizing her into things. And now speaking about Rhys's group, Feyre has gone ahead at this point. She's met the others, the inner circle. So she's met Amren, Cassian, and Azriel. Can I just say, I'm in love with Cassian. I love how the entire world of Prythian, they believe that Rhys kind of rules over this court full of cold-blooded murderers, but when you read the book, they treat each other like absolute garbage, and they're all on this equal pedestal. For example, in Tamlin's court, Lucien is still a courtier. He's not at the same level as Tamlin, but in this one, in Rhys's court, even though Rhys is High Lord, they all treat each other the same way. They're all nice to each other, and they're such clowns running the night court. I'm not even gonna joke. It's so funny the way they speak to each other, and I'm loving it. Honestly, I'm loving their whole dynamic as a group, and I'm loving how the entire world believes otherwise, but genuinely, they are the funniest people in the book. Honestly, I think they could be dangerous, obviously, but right now I'm really enjoying the humorous bits, and I love Cassian. Cannot wait to read his book, which I believe is this one. So I'll get to that very soon, hopefully, and I'm loving everything about it. Also loving the way Rhys treats everyone else, because unlike Tamlin, he's not establishing this sense of superiority. He's making it all just nice and fair and equal, and I'm really loving how he's got certain things going, but it's a good time. Last thing I wanted to update about really quick was the fact that a few chapters ago, Feyre said that she felt like she was draining out of life. She felt like she was starved for hope and joy, and that's the best way to describe what she's going through. I'm not going to butcher it. There was a whole picture that I took of this certain page that explains everything perfectly. And the thing with Feyre is that when she was a human, she was lacking all these certain qualities that should have been given to her as her birthright, but she never got it, in the sense that she should have been protected and safe. She should have gotten kindness, and she shouldn't have been hungry. And so the first person that gave her all these qualities, she fell in love with him, and that was Tamlin. And now when she's become Fae, she needs another different set of things, and she's just now realizing that he was the first thing that offered her this comfort and protection that she doesn't need now, and he's still hell-bent on giving it. But that's the thing with her. She just loved him for what he could provide to her, and now she doesn't need that anymore. She's obviously grown and she's gone through so many different things that she needs something else that he cannot adapt to, and she's learning how, maybe it was never meant to be from the beginning, which is so crazy. Because can I just say, this author is doing an incredible job of making you kind of hate people you used to love and love people you used to hate. For example, I wasn't the biggest fan of Reese, but then now I would die for Reese. I think I'm partially in love with him. And then Tamlin, in the last book I was obsessed with him, but here I'm starting to see all the flaws and little character traits that I didn't pick up on, and reading it now, looking back in hindsight, it's kind of crazy. Even in the first book, if you remember that one scene, she went hunting out with Lucian and they come across that creature, I think it was the Borg or something, and you have to remember like good memories that keep you aware and like not fall in the trap. She remembers a dark night sky, and Reese is the ruler of the night court. Coincidence? I think not, because even on her dressing table in her old house back in the first book, she actually painted the night court or a night sky basically on her drawer. And I'm starting to think these two will end up together, which would be amazing because he is so down bad for her. She just doesn't realize it. Maybe that's a delusional, hopeless romantic coming out in me, but I'm having such a good time with this. The tension between them is everything. The politics, I am eating it up, and I cannot wait for the next book, which is the one on the war, because I love reading about war in like politics and stuff in like fantasy, and I'm having such a good time. Don't know what that says about me, but I'm so excited to keep going, and this is genuinely one of the best books I've read. Again, recommending it to everyone at this point. And I can see why Rhysand from this book, or I don't even know how his name is pronounced, but basically he's like the blueprint for every single book boyfriend that has come since in like the fantasy genre, because now looking back, every single main character I've read from other fantasy books, the males, they have some or the other trait that's taken from Rhys, and he's just such a perfect person that I wish he was real, but he's not. So I'm gonna keep reading and be sad about the fact that he doesn't exist, but that's me on a daily basis anyway. So I'll keep going and I'll update you guys hopefully soon with more thoughts on this book. But so far it's really good. It's looking to be very highly rated, and that's a good sign. I'll see you. Bye. Really quick update before I have to go, because today is a Friday and today is finally the day I'm gonna go get the third Fourth Wing book. It came earlier this week, but I just haven't had the time. Something kept happening every single day, and so I only have like maybe an hour to like continue reading, and then I have to start getting ready. So I'm gonna make this clip short, but I'll give you all my in-depth opinions and thoughts in a little bit, because I have them all written in like a notes app page, but have to go look at that. Haven't really done so. So a really quick update, I have hit halfway, so I'm on chapter 33 of this book now. That's page 300 and something, 317. So chapter 33, page 317, I'm halfway through. Can I just say, I think every bit that happens, I'm so invested in everything about this world, but everything about it at this point feels like home to me. So I'm scared for the point when I finish this book and feel so emotionally invested that I can't focus and I can't live my life normally without having this book literally injected into my veins. It's that good, and I think I'm falling in love with Rhys. Can you blame me? No, you can't. I know he's the enemy villain kind of guy, not really a morally good guy. He's more morally grey, but then there's something about enemies. They're sarcastic, they always wear better clothes, they have better one-liners, and I love him so much. I love his back and forth with Feyre, and right now I'm on the scene where they just reached the summer court. They're trying to figure out how they're getting the Book of Breathings, or at least the half that's in Prythian, from there, and Feyre's with them. So they're gonna go do that. I will come for more thoughts in a little bit, maybe when I get back home and I have my copy of Onyx Storm, and I will speak to you about it then, because like I said, I have like a whole notes app page dedicated to it about my thoughts for all of this build up and everything leading up to it. Is just I need a little time to sit down and kind of break through that. So I'll meet up with you guys in a little bit with more updates. I'm gonna go read as much as I can now before I have to leave, because that's really what I want to do, and I'll come meet you guys. I'll catch up with you in the night time, then we can speak more about this book, and we can speak about how this book is literally taking over my life bit by bit and slowly changing it. Because ACOMAF, I'm not going to be dramatic right now, this is changing the trajectory of my life, and I'm loving every second of it. I know it's going to break me, but that's going to be worth it, because I love Sarah J. Maas and I have to read her backlist now. But I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, it's been a couple days, but now it's a beautiful Monday afternoon that I've finally gone ahead and hit page 399. So that's nearly page 400, chapter 42 on our book. I have reached the scene where now they're about to go to the Court of Nightmares to kind of figure out how to get the orb or whatever that thing is, so they can convince the queens that, Reese wants to promote peace. And so they're going to be doing that. But I have so many thoughts right now, so I'm going to put the book down because I wrote every single thing down in the phone because I knew I was going to forget. And there's like a whole list with 50 points. So get ready for me to dissect this book apart. Please bring yourself like a snack, get comfortable because it's going to take a little bit, so buckle in. I'm going to put the book down, but I'm speaking about this book only, and I'm going to have my phone up, so just keep that in mind. But to begin with, my suspicions about Ayante, that witch woman, I don't even care, I can call her a witch woman now, but correct, because if she is using Lucian now, I would personally like to go and kill her. Now that we've seen everything from Reese's point of view, why she got kicked out of the Night Court, I don't feel so bad calling her a witch because genuinely she is a witch. And now moving on to the next thing. In the last 100 or so pages before that, since my last update to you, I am feeling so bad for Azriel, for his like backstory, because of what you figure out, and it's really sad, but like Cassian is still my favorite. And coming to the next point, Cassian and Nestor, their dynamic is so cool. Now I cannot wait for Cassian's book. I have to continue on with the series, which I know I will anyway, but their dynamic, oh my god, it's giving enemies to lovers, dragged out angst, and I love that kind of shit, so I'm so excited for it. I'm loving the whole group's dynamic as well, because Reese's inner circle, like I said in one of my previous updates, they're all a bunch of clowns at the end of the day, but they do have that power aspect which holds like control over the rest of Prithian, who is now terrified of them, which I'm loving that, and I'm loving their internal workings as well, the way they treat each other, the way they behave. It's really fun and cool. I'm loving the politics and the conflict of the world, because in most fantasies I'm either there only for the romance or the politics, but in this one it's balanced out so well that I'm so interested in either of them. Whatever goes on, honestly, it's the perfect mashup, this book, and I'm loving reading about what's going on in the background, what the King of Highburn is doing. And now I cannot wait for ACOMAF, which is the next book about the war. Okay, so there was this one part where she mentions that she and Tamlin fought for each other's love, but she fought harder for him, and this is what I mean by when I say they weren't really well suited for each other, because he never gave her an option anyway. Something I forgot to say in a couple of my last updates was that Rhysand, he always gives her a choice. He always gives her the kind of option to choose, and she has that waiting for her, so she can do what she wants because she still has that freedom. Her control is not being snatched away from her, and I'm really loving that. Also, I really wanted to mention Tamlin, the one last night before the last trial during Amarantha in the first book. He could have helped her get away, but instead he wanted to go at it, and so that also infuriates me thinking about it. And then that also reminds me that he did have these kind of episodes when he lost control of his temper, and that just goes to say that, and the temper thing included, shows how much Feyre's love blinded her to his faults. And now looking back on it, your eyes are kind of opening to see that, oh my god, he isn't like the perfect first love that we found in the book. He's actually flawed like everyone else's, but he's really bad in that sense, so that needs to be figured out. So because of all of that culminating together and adding up, I felt that she and Tamlin personally were wrong for each other. Like in the beginning they found what they needed, but like after that now they just aren't well suited enough. And then going on that tangent, she and Rhys kind of understand each other, and then at this part I've literally written, am I sensing tension, with 2 question marks, because this is what I mean. Now it's obviously gone much deeper and you can see stuff building between them, but like 100 pages ago when I was still confused about it, genuinely having the best time. This is really getting me happy, and the hopeless romantic in me is screaming in delight, so I'm gonna keep reading about that. Rhys and Feyre flirting is my new Roman Empire. I know people don't say that anymore. I know Roman Empire isn't like a trend anymore, but it still is because of how good it is. And I'm down on my knees so bad every single time it happens, sending pictures of it on like the group chat, asking my friends to read it. I've already convinced like a bunch of people to. Some people have even gone ahead and got the copy. So really, this book is doing wonders, and I love it, and this is why people also love it. This is why I shouldn't have put it off, because I'm so mad at myself for having done that for so long. Another thing I wanted to say is that Feyre is a survivor. She's not like a pet or trophy. She went through so much trauma, not to be caged up and cloistered away for Tamlin's, peace of mind for his sake, which is why, again, she and him, their dynamic together is really infuriating to me. Feyre's learning to rely on herself kind of, and learn to protect herself, because last time around she wasn't able to do that, and that's really what got her killed. And now that she's finally finally able to kind of adapt to that skill set that she needs, it's so much better. And then everyone in the night court is not somewhat tortured or traumatized, but you can kind of tell that everyone has some sort of history and past that they can connect with her and they can bond with her and understand what went wrong with Tamlin and her, and they kind of have that mutual sense of togetherness, I guess you can call it, wherein they all kind of feel for each other, and it kind of makes this like imperfect and uneven little family in the way they are, all connecting, but like I'm loving it honestly, and it's kind of perfect. I am loving the strong female representation in this book. It's not there in much other books I've read at this point, and genuinely the way it's done in this book, oh my god, I am literally screaming in delight from how amazing it is, and I'm loving every second. So before, when he needed her to kind of break Amarantha's prophecy or whatever to kind of fix the world, when Tamlin needed Feyre, he gave her all the kindness and safety and what she needed in that very moment. But then now, after he got his powers back, he kind of kept her as a prisoner for the sake of the peace of his mind, and that again goes to show how, they weren't really meant for each other. And then this other thing I've written is that love can be poisonous. I think Rhys may have said it a few pages ago, and Tamlin's love for Feyre was like overdone, because if it's poison, then the amount he's giving her is lethal, and it's not really good because you need to calm down. This other thing I spotted was that she's really numb around Tamlin. The entire time she went back from the night court to his court, she managed to relearn or kind of study how to read and educate herself in 1 month. Can you imagine how much it took for her to now be sitting down and reading full-length novels without any issue? That she had so much time on her hands, so much freedom in the sense that she had no one to speak to. She was neglected and abandoned to the point where she was so numbed out. She learned how to study in a month. She learned how to read and literate herself in 1 month, and that's kind of crazy, and that's just really speaking volumes to me, but I'm not really sure if I'm explaining it right. Now on the other hand, she feels all these intense emotions with Rhys, even if it's just anger or flirting or tension or whatever, but she's still feeling stuff with him, and that's really just so much better. Another thing I noticed is that Feyre really used to call the night court the most hated place. She kind of like genuinely despised it. She wanted to stay away from it, but then now in all these subtle lines, she's always just like, let's just go back home, or let's go to the house or whatever, and she's referring to Valaris as home, and that's really getting me, and it's pulling on my heartstrings, because she used to hate that, but now she calls Valaris home, and that just shows how it's grown on her, and it's grown on the reader, and how Sarge Maas does incredible character development from like page 1, because so much is developed. Back at the beginning, I didn't necessarily hate Rhys, but now I don't have any of those feelings of whatever it was against him. I don't have anything left against him, I'll be real, and the way she's done it is amazing. I would like this book to be at least 1000 pages long, because I don't care, I would read it even if it was longer, but I still feel like the length it's at right now, it's perfect for their healing journey. It's beautiful in the sense that the pacing is correct, and it's set right in the sense that nothing is rushed or nothing is slowed down. It's just done correct. It's not sped up to kind of concise it down into a small bunch so the romance can happen quicker. No, the way it's done is genuinely perfect, and I'm loving it, and it's so beautiful because I haven't read anything like it, and I'm having the best time. Now, I met my friend a couple days ago, and she knows her friend who has actually read the book, and so my friend told me that I have to look out for chapter 54 and 55, because apparently she says something amazing happens there, but haven't read it, so I don't really know. But I'm looking forward to it now. That's my newest goal, and I want to kind of hit it today. So we shall see if that happens. I'm on 42 right now, but I'm excited. And then the next point I have written down is that the length is perfect for character development, because so much has happened, like I said, and I'm having the best time. Can we also take a second to talk about the subtle lines Sarge Maas throws in there? Like, that's genius. The subtle things she says, and when they come back to hit you full force. When I reread this book, because already reading it right now, I'm thinking of when I reread it, it's gonna hit me so much harder, like a little train truck. Don't even know what that's supposed to mean, blasting into me, because awareness is gonna hit so much harder when you look back on the small things she's written. But right now I'm having a good time trying to interpret it as much as I can, and I can't wait to watch a couple explanation videos later so I can see even more of the depth she's incorporated into her book, because it's so good. I don't know if I'm being dumb right now, but since the last little update to you, even up till right now, am I picking up something between Azriel and Morrigan, or is it just my hopeless romantic heart begging for something to be there? Because them together, I'm actually loving that, but I don't know if anything's gonna come off it, because I don't really know if it's confirmed or not, but we shall see. Another thing I wanted to say so bad was that they keep saying that Amarantha was only one of Hybern's commanders. Imagine how much worse it can get if they get like a whole army of those commanders and rule over Prithian forever, because she had it, one commander, for only 50 years, and so many people went through so much trauma, there was so much devastation, loss and bloodshed. You just sit down and imagine how much worse it gets and how much they have to tackle with in the next book. And also, can you imagine how much worse it could get if people higher in rank, so maybe, you know, someone even higher in rank than Amarantha came over? Like, that would be crazy. The end. I'm sorry, what? I can see so much foreshadowing when they talk about it, and I'm genuinely so scared out of my mind at this point, but we shall see what happens next. Another thing I wanted to speak about was that Rhys lets Feyre see his traumas. He doesn't necessarily let her into the point where she's traumatized by his trauma, but he's still letting her see that he is in pain and he is suffering, and he's not like perfect or whatever. He has his flaws, which is why, you know, they're kind of healing together. And when she saw him in a previous scene, she kind of described him as a dark fallen prince, and she wanted to paint him. She hasn't wanted to paint in so long, and now those urges are coming back to her slowly. And you know, that's so beautiful that the light is coming back to her world. And again, that's how I mean, that's basically what I'm trying to say when I say the healing journey is done so perfectly in this book. But that's regardless to say that I wouldn't not like a Tamlin redemption arc, because genuinely, can you imagine if Sergeant Maas makes you feel such intense emotions? Can you imagine how well she would do a Tamlin redemption arc? I cannot wait to read that, hopefully one day, if she ever does it, because that would be genuinely incredible, knowing her potential as an author. Now, a quick comparison I wanted to draw between Tamlin and Rhys. Rhys, in one of the earlier scenes, he promises to reduce spice costs when they go out to eat dinner or something, and the woman who is serving them dinner speaks about how inflation could affect the economy again, and how they just started to get spice again, and you know, the economy is opened up and now war can ruin it. And he promises that he'll try as much as he can to balance spice costs. He, as a High Lord with other duties and responsibilities, wants to really just help his people. On the other hand, when Tamlin was collecting taxes from his people right after the whole Amarantha thing happened, like, firstly, dude, come on, you need to wake up. They're all recovering and healing from it, and you're taking taxes from them when you don't even need it. And secondly, when at the end of the thing happens in the scene in one of the earlier ones, wherein Feyre gives one of the water wraiths or something like that some of her jewelry, and she kind of goes to Tamlin to speak about how he needs to help their weekly markets, he kind of is completely against it. So that just goes to say there's, you know, comparisons we can draw between the two of them, and it's very subtle, but this is what I mean when you think back on what Sarah J. Maas has done with her writing, and it's incredible. Also, Rhys being considerate of his inner friend circle and his friend group, especially when he was trying to locate the Book of Breathings, and he kind of wanted Amberyn's freedom. Like, yeah, he could have her prisoned up under him forever, but he thinks of her as his friend. He just wants to help her get back to where she came from, and he thought of her freedom, but he didn't want to get hope in her heart only to shatter it, so he held back. And can you imagine how nice that is? Like, genuinely, that's so sweet. I have written here, beautiful healing journey, pacing is perfect, but I think I already said that, so we can move on to the next thing. Rhys fought for Feyre, for her not to wallow in her own darkness when she was doing that, and now she's fighting for him because he's got his own traumas and darkness and pain, and them together, oh my god, stop. I think I might cry because of how perfect and beautiful it is. He was there for her, and now she's being there for him. Oh my god, stop. So the event where I met my friend a couple days ago and she told me about chapter 54 and 55, I actually had to wear like a different dress. I had like a pink one planned, but I ended up going with a blue one, and I even got my nails done turquoise in honor of the night coat. So the dark blue dress that I wore was for the night coat, and my nails are turquoise because at that point I was reading about the summer coat, and they had like, you know, turquoise things in there. And so can you just imagine how much harder and deeper this book is hitting me than anything else, if it's literally influencing real life decisions for me to the point where no other book has ever done that for me. So it's crazy and I'm loving it. Another thing I wanted to point out really quick, it was something I read last night but I had to write it down. Tamlin complains about how he never wanted to become a High Lord, and you know, he doesn't really make decisions that help his court or his people. But Rhys, on the other hand, he doesn't really talk about whether or not he wanted to be High Lord. That's never been into consideration, but he still has this like certain vision that he wants to kind of bring true to kind of help and impact his people and, you know, his court, which is why we can already see Velaris is thriving. He kind of saved them and went through so much for them. He went through lengths to the end of the world to defend them just because that was his vision. He went through so much trauma and he still saved his people, and that's the kind of High Lord he is in comparison to Tamlin, who's constantly, I don't know, just being a little snobby about how he never wanted to be High Lord. Like, please shut up. But that isn't to say that I still wouldn't want a Tamlin redemption arc. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to read that. I'd love to read anything this woman writes, honestly. At this point, if she gives me her grocery list, she probably won't because she doesn't know me, but if she does, genuinely would read it. Also, really quick, reading back the dedications in the first book and the second book now, they hit so much harder, and it's so sweet because in the first one there's a reference to Under the Mountain, and in the second one now to the Court of Dreams, and that's so beautiful. The next point I have written down is how did she come up with names for everything in this whole mythical universe? Because can you imagine, she sat down, thought of names like Reese and Feyre and Prithian and whatnot, and she came up with so much, and it's so intricate, and she actually sat down and did all of this. So someone needs to go dissect Sarah J. Maas's mind apart and understand how this woman is doing it, because that is incredibly crazy. Genuinely, hats off to her. Huge round of applause. She's slaying and she's killing it out there. Next thing I have written down is that everything is done so vividly, and the descriptions are perfect to the point where I have a clear picture of everything in this book painted in my mind, and that genuinely does not happen. I have to really force myself to struggle and come up with like photos when I'm reading. Don't really picture stuff that often, but the fact that I'm reading this and I feel like I'm not really reading words on paper, I'm literally seeing it, playing it out as a movie in my head, picturing the whole thing so amazingly that it's done perfectly. And now I'm gonna go continue reading. We'll see what happens in the Court of Nightmares. This has been one huge update and dissection, but that is to say, this book is pure genius. I think it is slowly but surely changing the trajectory of my life. Loving every second. It's still gonna be like a 5-6 star read at this point. Nothing has really changed from that little tangent, but I'm gonna go keep reading because I cannot wait. And hopefully we'll reach chapter 54-55, what my friend said today. I have a good feeling I'm either finishing this today or tomorrow, because when I'm reading on Kindle it says I have about 9.5 hours left, and I think that isn't a lot comparing it to the fact that I don't really have much on my schedule. I cleared everything out and I'm done editing for the next couple of days, so we can sit down, we can binge it in peace, and I'm so happy that the time has come to do that. So I'm gonna go continue reading, and this was for the huge update that I wanted to give you so bad. I'm gonna go get back to my book and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Guys, I'm now 80% through the book. I have made it to part 3, I think it's called House of Mist, and I'm on chapter 52, page 503. I thought it was the perfect time to update because now that we've hit the 500 page mark, I've got things to say. And the previous chapter, something crazy happened, we need to speak about it, but this is how far in I am. I have hardly anything left, and I would have continued reading, but I needed like an emotional break after that to kind of unravel the craziness of the Sarah J. Maas world, the Maasiverse I think it's called. And I'm so down to read more by her because she is now my top author I've ever read in my entire life because of the thing that happened. We'll speak about it in a second, but before we get to what I just read, let's recap on what I read since the last time I spoke to you, because I have notes again and I need to speak about them. Now again, this is all in reference to ACOMAF, but I've put the book down so I can hold the phone and focus on telling you my thoughts. So I'm speaking about this book only, just keep that in mind. The first thing I've written down is that the progression of friendship between Reese and Feyre is so well done, because they were friends first before anything, and before what just happened, but they're friends, alright? And the way it's happening that way, she hated him, slowly they're building on that friendship, slowly they're healing together, and just the way it's done is beautiful. It's not like over sped up or whatever, but like the pacing is correct, and it's not even like so slow to the point where you feel bored out of your mind. It's just done the right way, the way it should be, and it's kind of incredible. It also feels very natural and beautiful according to what I've written. The Court of Nightmares chapter, since the last time I spoke to you, it was so angsty. I loved every second of it. Now the starfall scene on the other hand made me want to cry so bad because it was beautiful, and this is where the whole friendship thing comes in, because I love the way things are going between them. This other thing I wrote down is that he'd fought for her even when she couldn't fight for herself, and now she's fighting for him. Again, the whole friendship aspect coming and leading up to where I'm gonna speak about in a second, but it's building up. Before they went to the Court of Nightmares, they were trying to figure out who was the one, sending arrows from the ground or whatever. And so she wanted to hunt in the forest, and she actually asked him, let me go with you. The same thing she said to Tamlin at the beginning of the book when he was going to go try to help the villagers or whatever, and he hadn't let her. But Rhys, even though he didn't like her choice, he still gave her the option, and he still let her come and try to hunt the grounds, try to find the arrowmen or whatever, and he let her go as per the way she wanted, rather than imposing his will on her. Even if he didn't like her choice, he still let her pursue it. And that's a very direct comparison to Tamlin, but I'm loving it. After Court of Nightmares, they fought and things weren't perfect, but I feel like in any relationship you need to fight, and you kind of need to have that little healthy aspect wherein you're speaking about your emotions rather than having everything flawless to the point where it's so bottled up, the way it happened between Tamlin and Feyre, because they never really spoke about anything. But then now Rhys and Feyre, they fought and they expressed everything they had within them, and it wasn't perfect, obviously, it was flawed, but that's what leads the grounds to a good healthy relationship, and it's done really well. And I was happy they did kind of fight, even though it was a little sad, because that just lays the groundwork for something even better to come one day. And now that they're expressing their emotions and getting closer to each other, open enough to be able to do so without feeling exposed or whatever, it's really good. And despite how brutal it was, they were being open and honest, which is again beautiful. They spoke about their true feelings. That is also something she never really did with Tamlin, and now she's getting the place to do it with him, Rhys, and it's really good. And now he is so misunderstood, it's making me sad, because you read all these things, slow bits of his backstory, and from what I can tell, chapter 54 is gonna be partially in his perspective, and I'm already ready for that. But can I just say, it's so sad. He's done so much for his people and the court and everything, but no one really knows. He's just so misunderstood, and that's actually a little traumatizing. I feel so sorry for him. She painted again. In the Starfall scene, she painted on him, and she painted for him, and she painted again. So he's filling up that hole in her heart. He's bringing light again to her world. The metaphors in this book are crazy, and they're so good, and I'm loving it. I love Morrigan. That's all. I literally just wrote love more, and that's so real. In the story, she was telling Amren the villain thing, wherein the villain is the one who cages the maiden up, but he was the one who let her out rather than throwing the key away. He is not the villain. Technically, if you think about it, who was the one who caged her up in the first place? It was Tamlin. So technically, Tamlin is the villain, even though he seems like the good guy, and the person who actually let her out rather than caging her up is Rhys, and he thinks of himself as the villain in the story, which is even sadder because he's already so misunderstood and hated by everyone. He's used to being, called names, being spat at, and so the fact that, this hit in the book, that's so sad. It actually made me want to tear up. I'm not even joking. The way it's going so deep in this book, I know it's going to hit me so hard. I'm going to cry at some point in the series. I already know it, but I'm loving it. And regardless of everything, he still blames himself. God, this poor guy, I feel so sorry for him. Also, while being along with him in his inner circle in his court or whatever with the others, she's slowly learning to become herself again. She's thriving again, she's eating properly, she's not puking her guts up, she's getting color back in her face. And this is a direct reference to So Long London. This morning I also was listening to Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, and tell me those two songs, a good mashup of them is in a great chunk of ACOMAF. I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor Swift came out one day and said that she was inspired to write those songs from ACOTAR, because those songs basically describe ACOMAF, at least majority of it, perfectly, in the sense that she felt broken or whatever, but then now it's coming back, and oh my god, I'm loving every second. I am loving Feyre, honestly. I know a lot of people find her annoying or whatever, but that's such strong female representation to begin with, and the fact that she's not perfect, but the way it's done, I love her character so much. And also I've written here, I want a Lucien healing arc, because there was that scene wherein Lucien came trying to get her back to Tamlin's court and saying it wasn't the same without her, whatever. They kind of need her back. And can you imagine if Feyre wasn't able to last under Tamlin's oppressive orders or whatever for only a few months? He's been with Tamlin since the beginning of his life, which is probably a few centuries at that point, and he also had to suffer under the mountain. Can you imagine how much trauma that leads up to? Even the past thing with his lover or whatever, I feel so bad for him, and I would love a Lucien healing arc, even though he was a bit of an ass in the scene that was there with Feyre, but then again, he was commanded to be so it's sad, and I want to see a Lucien story, and I want to watch him heal too. Tamlin stopped fighting for her and gave up on her, but Rhys didn't, and now she's fighting for Rhys. And another thing I've written is that if Amarantha wanted to model her court under the mountain, on the basis of like inspiration from Reese's Court of Nightmares. Can you imagine how terrifying Court of Nightmares will be? Because already Amarantha managed to cause so much damage, devastation, everything from her court for like 50 years, and his court has been ruling for much longer. And if that was what provided inspiration to Amarantha, can you imagine how much worse Court of Nightmares will be? Like, that's kind of crazy, honestly. Even if Reese does not like her choices, he still grants her the right to be independent and choose. And this was the last thing I wrote before I managed to read what happens next. But basically, she went to the Suriel spilled the tea. Now I'm thinking back, and I actually went and reread a couple scenes from ACOTAR because I wanted to, make sure my memory wasn't failing before I came to speak to you. Feyre painted her dresser drawer after the night court. Feyre saw the night court when she was fighting the bog with Lucian. She was supposed to think of like a happy memory. And Suriel told Feyre to stay with the High Lord. He never said stay with Tamlin. He meant Rhys. And Rhys is her mate. He never told her because he wanted her to have the right to choose, because she was in love with Tamlin and he knew all along, and he went with it. He watched every second of her with Tamlin, knowing that she was his mate. Rhys is a green forest as a walking person. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm so excited now to get to chapter 54. I'm on 52 now. I have only a couple chapters left, and the thing is, I want to sit down in one go, just read all of it, the 54 and 55 part, because I'm so excited now to see what happens next. Can I just say, Rhys is her mate. I did not see that coming. I actually have a sticker I bought for like an ACOTAR collection pack that says Suriel Tea and Co, wherein Suriel is spilling the tea. I will show you my sticker in a few minutes. I never actually knew what it meant, and now I do, and it's so crazy looking back on it, honestly. Crazy. I also have this other sticker that says Wingspan, and now I understand the Wingspan references too. So, a lot is getting uncovered right now. I'm so excited to keep reading, and I'll show you my sticker in a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Genuinely, this is the best book I've read in my life after the whole mate thing. Rhys is her mate. He never told her because he wanted her to have the choice. And she knows now, and they already know they like each other. Oh god. I waited so long for this, and every second is so worth it. Sarah J. Maas, you are probably the most genius person of our decade at the moment. Watch ACOTAR become a classic in a few years' time, because oh my god, can you imagine how far back she's been plotting this for that to come up? When Rhys stumbled back, shook under the mountain, that was when the bond clicked into place. Can you imagine? I want to reread the book so bad now, ACOTAR, to just see all the mini references and pick up on it. Oh god. I'm so happy and excited, and I'm having the best time. This is the best series I've read in my life. I think this tops Harry Potter now, and that's crazy because I haven't even finished it. But, I'm gonna go keep reading. I'll see you guys in a little bit. The maid thing really got me. I'm so happy. You don't get it, but I'm gonna go and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Okay guys, so I started, I think, chapter 61, so I'm on page 581, and I figured I'm gonna come and give you my last update before I go ahead and finish this book now, because I have 40 pages left. And here's the thing with any fantasy book, last time when I was reading Fourth Wing in like a different blog, I actually predicted it. The last like 10% goes crazy, and already I've started the last 10%, and there was the attack on Velaris because it was compromised, because they told the queens about it to kind of win their trust for the book, and the queens went and told Hybern. That was like such a shock, honestly. And now Velaris has been compromised, and they are heading out to Hybern in the chapter I just read. And so I have only this much left. Half of this is like acknowledgements and like starting into the next book, so there's hardly any, and I'll probably sit down, I can finish it in like an hour or something like that. But I wanted to come here before anything because the last 10% in fantasy books usually goes to shit, so let's talk about that for a second. But before anything, I went ahead, I read chapter 54 and 55. Literature will never be the same for me again. I think I have peaked at my favorite chapters I will have ever read in my lifetime. This book is the best book I've read in all of my existence, honestly. Every single book I've read pales in comparison to what this is, and what those books can never be, because this was perfect. Chapter 54. Every single part of me wanted to cry in pain but also in happiness because of how much, trauma they've gone through, both of them, and how much they're healing, and they were broken, but they found each other now. And like, a piece of my soul is forever theirs, and it chipped away to be theirs now. Bits of my heart is broken forever for them, and I'm forever going to be grateful that Sarah Maas sat down and wrote these books, because genuinely, she is the author of our generation, of modern era. She needs to be studied and examined, how she does all these like subtle plot twists and foreshadowing or whatever, because now looking back, there's so much to look back on. In the first book, in the Midgard worm scene, because I've been going back and flipping through it and I want to reread it so bad. Everyone calls Feyre it, the fairies or whatever, except Rhys. He calls her she and gives her that respect, and he's the only one who bets on her or whatever. And then there's so many other things going on. He was the one who sent music to her jail cell or whatever to kind of help her and kind of get her out of that spirit where she was breaking down and self-combusting. And the fact that now they found each other and they're perfect for each other, they balance each other out, I love it, honestly. Never read anything like chapter 54, probably never will again, and can't wait to reread this book. At this point, this is like my favorite series ever, and it was perfect. Can I just say also, Enemies to Lovers is done correctly in this book, the way it was dragged out, because it's correct slow burn to the point where nothing happens between them until like 85%, and that's when the final confession in like chapter 54 happens, and like that's how I like my slow burn romances. And this isn't even a romance, but it was done correct, and I don't think I'll ever settle for anything less now that I've read this, because I have this and it's high standards to compare everything else to. And Rhys is now my first top book boyfriend. He tops every single person I've ever read about, because this book, oh my god, the way I'm telling you, I stayed up till 4 in the morning reading those chapters and crying. Let's not even talk about it, because it's kind of embarrassing. Now, apart from all of that, I did not see the Queen's betrayal coming. I didn't really see the attack on Velaris either, so now I'm scared for when they go to Highburn, because I know things will go to shit, which is why, the next book in the series is the war book, because, it has to go to shit for the thing to happen. But, regardless, I'll keep reading. Yesterday, I was scrolling on Pinterest a little bit, the aesthetic, and I've been looking at all these, like, fan art pictures. Genuinely got so lost away. I was on it for 2 hours, just looking at photos, which is crazy. And there was this one song that kept coming up on like Feyre reels and stuff, wherein I think the lyrics were, I was 19 in a white dress when you told me I was your princess, or something like that. I don't know the name of the song, I'll go look it up, but that is so real, because half the lyrics in the video perfectly line up with this. Even Tortured Poets department, like, you cannot tell me Taylor Swift didn't think of Avatar while writing it, because so many things line up so perfectly with these books that now, listen, I'm doing my favorite thing in the world. I'm correlating my favorite songs to the book, and I'm very far deep into the book when I'm doing stuff like that. Even the parts where Rhys is so down bad for her from the very beginning, and you start to see it in his perspective. Now I actually found out there's like a fan book or something someone's written, wherein it's like fan fiction, but it's in Rhys's point of view, following the events of this book, and like it's around the same length. So if you guys want me to make a video reading that, I don't really know what it's called. I'll put it up on screen or whatever. But like one day, I think I'm probably gonna go read that too, because everyone in the fandom loves it, and now I cannot wait to see what happens next, despite how scared I am, because I need these people to be happy. They're my new favorite characters. I love the found family and everything else in it, and genuinely, Rhys gives her freedom like it's her inherent right rather than a privilege, that the way Tamlin made her feel, because it's actually a line in here. And this stuff has me pondering for hours on end, so it's really affecting my life. And I'm gonna go keep reading, but they better be happy and no one better die, because I'll be so disappointed and heartbroken if that happens. And maybe soon I'll start recording the next book vlog as well, because I need to see where this goes, but I can't like rush it up, because the author hasn't announced when the last book or whatever Elaine's book comes out in the series, and like I don't know if that's the last or not, but genuinely I need the series to be complete before I start binging the whole thing out, because watch me make it to the last book that's currently out, finish it, and then cry over the fact that I have literally nothing left from the world, and I don't know when the next book comes out. So we shall see what happens with that. I'm gonna go keep reading. The fact that they found each other, fated mates in this, oh my god, you can't understand how much I love this book with every piece of my heart, from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, please read it if you haven't already. You probably have, because this is like a spoilers vlog, but like still, if you want to reread it, take it as your sign to do so, because it's so worth it. And now I'm gonna finish recording for this vlog, probably gonna go and reread both the first couple of books, because it was that good. And I'll speak to you guys in a bit, go finish my book out, and I'll give you final thoughts on how I feel about it. So bye. This has been one long heck of an update, right? But like there was no phone referring to this time because I know in my heart how I feel about this book, and genuinely, I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. I'm gonna go keep reading. Guys, I finished ACOMAF. I finished it exactly a day ago. I finished it yesterday, and I've needed my full 24 hours to sit down and process what happens at the end of this book, so I come speak to you. But before anything, this book was 6 stars. Let's now break down and do it. Can I just say, a whole part of me during the book, the entire time I was reading it, was like, why do the girlies hate Tamlin so much? Because is he at fault? Is he wrong if he just wants to protect Feyre? Like, he's got his own traumas from under the mountain, and I felt bad for him, and truly the guy just needs therapy. But then I read the ending, and this man went, allied forces with Hybern to get Feyre back, even though she asked him to back off because she's happy at the night court with Rhys. And he still did that against her will, using her, taking her, trying to capture her as if she's some sort of animal or trophy or whatever. I hate him. I think I'm joining that new train again because genuinely, can you back off? Can you stop being a control freak? And I know he's not real. I know nobody cares. I know I'm being extremely passionate about it. I absolutely hate him. I can't believe I ever liked him as a character. I have been so wrong about him since the beginning, and now that happened. He betrayed her, he betrayed all of them, and he went and joined Hybern. Oh my god. Let's also take a second to address the fact that now Nesta and Elaine are both Fae. I didn't expect that. I thought, because I'm personally human and I cannot avoid spoilers, the last book that's currently out in ACOTAR, so the orange one, I thought it's going to be Nesta as a human with Cassian, because again, I cannot avoid spoilers everywhere. I know Nessian is like a really popular ship, but can you believe it? They are both Fae now, and Elaine's mate is Lucian. And I want to go ahead and give you all my theories for the next book, which I already have, but I'm not going to because this is a spoiler vlog only for this one, and I don't really want to spoil the next one for you in the case that you've only gone ahead and read up to like here. It's not really appreciated, I know. So I'm gonna stop. I will save my spoilers for ACOWAR, but can I just say, the enemies to lovers in this is done perfectly. The slow burn romance is done perfectly. The politics, the war, the ending, oh my god, are you kidding me? She's gonna pretend in the spring court and she's the eternal spy, and we had a Rhys chapter at the end, and before anything we never got a face and wedding. Are you kidding me? I wanted that so bad, and we don't have one. But I mean, it makes sense because like at the beginning of the book when Tamlin and Feyre were getting married, it was this big thing for show, and then you didn't ever get one for Rhys and Feyre because it's a small intimate thing that's actually close to them and it's not to show anyone, which is why it does make sense. But I feel so robbed right now. Like I wish I got that, but the Rhys chapter kind of made up for it, and now Rhys is my top book boyfriend. I need to see what happens next, but I don't have the video for the next book penciled in anytime soon, so I'm gonna take a break from this emotional break because I don't want to end up slumping. Same reason why I stopped reading the Fourth Wing series, because I don't want to get so attached to the point where once it's over I feel like I'm on the verge of an emotional breakdown. So maybe in a month's time I will be back to read the next book, but I have finished this. This is officially the best book I've ever read in my entire life. Rhys, I will be hyper-fixating over him and his group of friends, the Bat Boys, for the rest of eternity. The only thing I'm confused about is why doesn't Elaine end up with Azriel? Because wouldn't that be perfect? 3 sisters for 3 brothers. But anyway, Sergeant Maas is throwing crazy wild shitballs in there. She's probably got it all controlled and handled because she's a queen, she knows what she's doing, so I'm gonna leave it up to her and trust her with it. But honestly, I don't even care because Azriel and Morrigan, that would be the combination of the year, and I'm really looking forward to that at some point as well. But I loved this. I loved the subtle character development and building in it, and how she makes you love someone and then hate them and hate someone, and then you start loving them. So she's really playing with your emotions in this book, and she really knows how to write a good old romantasy, I guess you can call it. It's amazing. I loved it. This is probably the best book I've read ever in my entire life, and I've read I think 560 books at this point. So if this is the best one, please go read it if you haven't already. If you're using this video to spoil it for yourself, read this regardless because it's so good, and if you have already, go reread this because it's so worth it. And now I want to go reread first books and I want to read the next one, so we shall see when that happens. But that's it, I'm done reading this. I do have the next one because around the time I went to buy the second one after I finished the first one, I ended up getting the third one in that little book shopping excursion trip as well, and it's all shrink wrapped, so even if it looks like muddy or whatever, it's wrapped up. I'm not even cared or bothered. I'm gonna go unwrap this at some point, continue reading, but Genuinely, that ending was so crazy. I want to start reading this right now. The only thing is, I'm trying not to get too emotionally invested, like I said. So we'll see when that happens. But regardless, you've reached the end of today's reading vlog. Hopefully you guys had a fun time coming along with me for my first spoilers vlog, because I've never done anything like it. And you know, if you've got feedback on this kind of video format specifically, let me know, because there's a few more books I would love to do spoiler vlogs for, especially the rest of this series and the rest of the Fourth Wing series. So again, would appreciate some feedback if you've got any on this video. But regardless, if you enjoyed coming along with me, like, comment, share, subscribe. YouTube things, and I'll see you hopefully very soon, because I'm trying to post twice a week. Don't know if I'm still keeping up with it, but I'll see you regardless. And regardless of that, hopefully I will see you very soon to pick up this book, because I need to see what happens next. And I'm finally so excited to read about the war, because the politics in the whole series is my favorite part of it, apart from Reese. And so can't wait to get to this. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you hopefully very soon. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.